All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here on the light. As I said before, we are coming to you live from the African American Heritage Museum of Southern New Jersey. And so glad to be here with Eric Phillips.
Yes, sir.
And he just did a scene from Othello.
Yes, sir.
The first time I saw that was, you know what, I'm going to save that. I'm going to put this on the 5 questions, and hopefully you'll know who I'm talking about. So I'll start off with this. Well, let me set it up. First of all, we're going to play 5 questions, which if you've played this game before at home, you know 5 questions is the game that I don't have anything to give the people who play, so nobody wins, but nobody loses. And in a sense, we're all winners. So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Question number 1, who is Paul Robeson?
Paul Robeson is a profound activist who had the blessed opportunity to not only grace the stage but also speak for the people. He made humongous impact on Broadway, in the black community, and in the world in regards to his activism, his knowledge, his wisdom, and he made a huge impact. And it's funny that you mentioned that because there's a gentleman at my church who was singing today, and he just had the stature of Paul Robeson. Paul Robeson was a big fella, right? He was a big, tall, grandiose gentleman, and he just carried a presence about him. When he walked into the room, his presence spoke for itself without him even having to open his mouth. And then when he opened his mouth, he had this powerful voice with him that he carried. And so I feel like that voice was like from the ancestors that like just lived through him. And so he was a very impactful person. And actually, when I had the opportunity to go to New York, I didn't know that he had a theater named after him. So there's a theater in New York that's abandoned at the moment. But you can, if you go up to the doors, there's like a little keyhole, and you can look through and you can see the some of the pieces that they left behind in the theater. And for my birthday, actually, I went a few years back. And so, yeah. So, but to say all that to say, this gentleman at the church, he just reminded me of Paul Robeson. That was just earlier today, so that's the reason why I laughed. But
Okay.
Paul Robeson is a very profound gentleman within our community who played a huge part into getting our voice out there.
I've said this several times about some of the people who've been on the program already, but without the contributions of Paul Robeson, my life would look a lot different. The biggest impact he made on me is I realized, and you can understand this because of who your brother is, that I can be an artist as well as an activist, and as well as an athlete.
Yep.
He was an amazing athlete. Okay. What was the name you would give? No. Question number 2. Who is Arnell Lyles?
That's the queen. That's my queen. My mom is a hard-working woman whose heart is dedicated to the people. Single mother. She raised both myself and my brother. And she's just a hard worker. She had that Trump Plaza previous to them closing down, 21 years. But then also, outside of that, she also was within the community, so she started her own performing arts workshop program, who taught a lot of people that came up through the community, acting, singing, dancing, and she just made a huge impact. And I didn't understand her impact until now. Like, I'm now understanding how impactful she is, because a lot of times when you're blessed and when you're anointed, you're bound to be called and sought after. And growing up, I saw that my mom was called and sought after a lot, but the income didn't match. And so I was like, how could you give so much of you, but yet we come home sometimes and our lights are off? But I understood that that was her calling. And so when you have a calling, you have an anointing, it sometimes can look like you're being used. But that's just for you to be able to do that and not complain about it,
Yes.
and not like be like, yo, like charge more, like mom, charge more. But she just never saw fit to be able to do so. But she's been repaid so much because her sons were able to go to school, graduate from college. Her sons are like now stepping into their life, and so even though she may not have received the blessing directly, we will receive the blessing because like she's done so much for so many people that, you know, when it comes to her children and her children's children, they're blessed because of the work that she did. Because of the times where she didn't charge when she could have.
Right.
She should have.
Right.
But she didn't. And so when you see that, when you see somebody whose heart is so authentic and true,
Right.
it goes a long way. And no money can pay for that. You know. So that's who I know. She's a queen. She's a
Okay.
queen.
Earlier, you brought up the word sacrifice. I wrote that down.
Yes.
What is something that you've sacrificed for your acting career?
Not much. Not much.
That's substantial.
Okay.
If I'm being honest, like I feel like the work that I do now, I sacrifice a lot more. And I work with youth, like I dedicate my time to the youth.
Okay.
And I feel like that's more sacrificing than the acting, because the acting is all about me. But when you're working with other people and you want to see them flourish and grow, you give a part of yourself. And that's sacrificing a lot, because at the end of the day, you're tired.
Right.
You're exhausted.
Right.
You're drained because you're
Right.
giving yourself.
Right.
And so I think that I sacrifice more now than I've ever done in my, and I've been acting all my life, you know. $50 to go to New York and back, that's nothing.
Oh man.
But to spend hours or sometimes weeks investing in other people, in your time and your energy, you can't put a price on that, man. That's sacrifice as well. Yeah.
This is a follow-up, not the fourth question per se, but is it possible as an artist for you to teach or inspire another artist without sacrificing part of yourself?
Yeah, because like if when we're having conversations, like when I talk with the youth and stuff like that, I give them a lot of my background of how I grew up and different things like that, some of the mistakes that I made and some of the demons I had to fight. And so like, I think that without even showing them my artistic side, just through conversation and authentic conversation, I think that I make a difference just through that, because like if I can overcome it, you can overcome it. You know, I'm no different. I'm no different than anybody else.
Okay.
Yeah.
This would be number 4. Name a playwright that you enjoy bringing their words to life on stage.
Rains Hansberry. A Raisin in the Sun is one of my favorite stage plays. And then I would have to say August Wilson.
So did you, okay, so in A Raisin in the Sun, did you play brother or did you play Travis or did you play both?
I played Travis.
You played Travis.
And I'm thinking about, this is something I would like to do. Now that I'm kind of getting the understanding the business side of things now, I would love to do A Raisin in the Sun and get my acting chops off, right? But and play Walter Lee, because I came up Leonard Dozier.
Okay.
He played Walter Lee.
Yes.
I played Travis, and actually right up the street here at the Dante Hall. That was where we showcased that play, and it was an amazing experience. I played Travis, and then we went on tour with that to HBCUs and got a chance to like be in front of other different audiences, and so I feel like I'm now it's like a rites of passage in a way, where like you step into like playing starting as a child, and then you grow up and you're coming into manhood, and you start to understand Walter Lee's dreams and visions and goals, and understand the friction within the household, being in one household with mama, your wife, your kid, and then still having dreams, but gotta fight against the grain, going against the grain, and understanding that now.
Right.
I'm like, oh yeah, I can add more to it now. The substance is now there because I kind of lived through it, you know.
It still boggles my mind that at one point the great actor Glenn Turman played Travis on Broadway, I believe it was.
Yes.
And, you know, we were blessed to still have him.
Yes.
But, you know, it's, because somebody might say, well, Travis is such a small role in the play, but then when you look at the people who have graduated through that role.
Yeah, yeah. Glenn Turman, who played Walter Lee? He actually
Sidney
just...
Poitier.
Did Sidney Poitier play? It wasn't...
On Broadway,
Joe
originally
Jones?
it was Ozzie Davis,
Uh-huh.
and then he was replaced by Sidney Poitier.
Gotcha. Okay. Sidney Poitier. Yeah.
And Ruby Dee played.
What, no, I'm saying, who played Walter Lee? James L. Jones played his father, Turman's father.
Not in The Raisin in the Sun.
No, that was Fences.
That was Fences.
That was
Fences.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Fences was.
Quick funny story. I want to shout out my little brother Mark Tyler, and this is just a geek thing because to this day, all I have to do is go. You know what he's about to do? Damn them eggs. Damn all the eggs that ever was.
All the eggs in the world, yes, sir.
Damn all the eggs that ever was.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's a very popular scene. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Oh man, we got one more question for you. Now you've also in your lexicon, I believe you have the title of filmmaker under your belt.
Yes, sir.
What moved you from the stage and television to wanting to create film? And this is question number 5.
So, theater was my first love. That's how I got in love with acting. But as I got older, I was like, man, you know, I kind of want to try the TV thing out. And so every now and then I would go and do, like my mom would take me to Philadelphia, audition for Mike Lemon, different things like that. I actually got like 2 callbacks. Like my first film ever auditioning for was Illicit Ills for HBO. And Mike Lemon was producing that, directing that. And I had 2 callbacks. And like, even though I didn't make it to the screen, just like the process of it, I was like, man, this is cool. I get to leave school early and go to Philadelphia and audition and stuff like that, and then come back and tell my friends about it, right? Well, I got in love with that, but then in college, a friend of my mom's told her like, hey, listen, why don't you have your son go and do some background and stuff like that in New York? So I started doing that. I went to some platforms, put my information out there, and was auditioning, and that was a part of me getting onto Godfather of Harlem. And so in that process, I was like, man, I really want to do this, but I don't want to play background no more. Like I want to like get my role, get my opportunity, right? And so I said, well, the only way to go about doing that is to write your own stuff. You know, the independent world was starting to grow and grow. And so I said, I'm gonna start writing my own stuff. So I started off with My Brother's Keeper, which was my first short film, shot and filmed in my home. So I was disrupting my household to make my film, and my mom was on board with it, even though like we were up till 3 o'clock in the morning. But she supported the vision. She saw what I wanted to do, and so she backed me. And so I started doing that and growing in that. And somewhere along the line, the passion, the love for acting, it's always been there, but it's kind of changed in regards to that part of my life was all about me. You know, and so it was all about what I could get opposed to what I could give.
Right.
And so where I was willing to pay people, the baseline was like so that I can get put on, right? So, but I didn't find the fulfillment and the joy that I got now where I'm pouring out and I work with children. I pour into their lives and I speak life into them and support their dreams and their visions. And not that I still don't want to do the acting. Like I actually have I just booked an acting gig. I did something for College Park Aviation Museum down in Maryland. So that'll be showing up soon. I've done work for the Tulsa Black Wall Street Museum down in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I still get work, but the passion, the drive that I used to have for that, pursuing that dream, is no longer the same anymore. Like I don't have that same like drive for it anymore. It's like if the opportunity comes, because I was blessed with it, I can lock back in and tap that. But it's more or less like I want to start pouring into the other youth because like that's where I find real fulfillment. And that's just the way that my life added up. You know what I'm saying? But I still love it. I still love watching movies. If an opportunity came and it was the right thing and it made sense, yes, I would still go for it. But I feel like when you don't chase a thing, it just if it's for you, it naturally just comes to you. And so like I feel like that's the way that my life is starting to work out. Is like I'm no longer chasing that dream. I'm no longer on that wheel anymore. I'm more like, yo, like, let's create other opportunities for other people and speak life into them, because that's where you find your most gratitude is serving others. And so I just want to serve. I just want to serve, and through my serving, it opens up doors for other things. But yeah, so like that, for instance, one of the young men that I got the opportunity to work with, and we actually just met, and he asked to come. And I was like, yeah, for sure, come along, man. You know, I didn't know what the experience was going to be like, but I knew that, listen, you never know what you're going to learn.
Does he act too?
No, he doesn't. He's actually an athlete. He's a student athlete.
Okay.
His name is Muhaj. And so, like, we had the opportunity to do a conference over at Union Baptist Temple.
Okay.
We spoke, and so now we're building a relationship, and I'm super excited because he reminds me a lot of myself. You know, and I had good men in my corner that helped to, you know, guide me and lead me, and so I'm just doing my part in regards to serving and learning from him, because I'm learning more than I'm giving, you know. So
There you go.
yeah.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
Eric Phillips, thank you so much. Super proud of you. Listen, I'm still going to be looking for you in the new season of Godfather of Harlem. If I don't see you, I'm going to be calling them up. I'm gonna get Forrest Whitaker on the phone and be like, yo, man,
Tell
what's up?
If
And give him a better role next time.
That's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's Eric Phillips. We are very proud of him, and continue on your good road. And thank you so much for taking time out to play 5 questions.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
All right. We're still here on The Light, and coming up, author, writer, and soon to be reality star, Felicia Morales.
All right, listen around. It might be a sometimes they get